Amazing.
All right, so it's almost the end of 2021, and this time last year, how often do you think that we were like texting and calling each other a day?
Probably too much. I mean, you can ask Adam. He probably
I would just like blow up, and we were probably messaging each other about the weather, the temperature, computers,
wires,
outside, virtual, mass. Just
hey, like what do I do? The computer is too cold.
Yeah, like what do we do? The computer froze. I don't know. What do I
like
do?
Literally froze.
My phone froze.
Literally froze.
The computer's working, but now my music isn't. Yes, like all of the things.
Right.
So we realized last year that we didn't have a ton of systems, and it was really hard to because things were constantly changing. But even in the constant change, having things in place and having processes and systems is really important. So, so what we did, because we always try to learn from what's happening and to continue to mix it up and make things better, we systemized our business. Everything. Like literally, we made systems and processes for everything. And even if we don't have them, we have continually created more. And down to, it may sound so ridiculous, but down to like, instead of just a task of like take out the trash, it's like, this is who should take out the trash. This is when, this is where the trash cans are, the trash bags. This is where the dumpster is. Like this is everything. And in a video so that you know, you have a reference. So we really have tried to do that. And I think things a year later are running so much smoother.
I think it's so important with the system. So even honestly, it's so beneficial for our business, but even in my own life, like I think sometimes you're wondering like, where does my time go? Or why do I always forget to take the trash out?
Right.
But you don't necessarily have a system yet for it.
Yes. And you're like, okay, but then once you do, everyone knows what the deal is, or you even know, this is what I do on this day at this time. So, and it happens because it's easier. So it's interesting because we've done that with our business, with ourselves, like even our roles in our business, with our employees, but also with our lives. Like Trisha and I have definitely implemented this into our lives and continue to do so. Again, it's ever changing. Things are always coming about, but it really is kind of nice to say, okay, like I know this is when we pick up the kids, and we kind of block it out because you don't realize, but like it's not just like getting them at the time that they're supposed to be picked up. It's like
the driving.
And where are we coming from and how are we getting home and where do we need to be?
Waiting in the car line.
Yes. So if one thing that we can pass on to you for like this coming year, and that we'll continue to do so, is to create systems and processes in your life to make you more successful and to make you accomplish more things and to make life, you know, even when it's constantly changing and sometimes different, have routine and make sure that things that are important to you happen.
Right.
So just like simple things to do, but like map out what your week looks like. Super helpful. And also I think a tip, which I kind of mentioned a little bit, but incorporating time that you're not thinking like, oh, I need to schedule this in, but like I need to go to the grocery store. Like takes time to get there and get back and unload.
And plan out what you're gonna buy.
Yes, and like unload the groceries, like do that. And for class, like blocking off, like we do 45-minute classes because you can be super efficient in 45 minutes, but also to kind of get here and get back in that hour time is possible.
Right, and how often you're to be talking or how long you're to be talking before and after class.
Yeah, and that's funny, but even kind of putting that buffer, then you have extra time to get other things done.
For sure.
And also kind of allowing yourself time where if something kind of blows up, that you are able to catch up.
Right.
So it sounds easier than it is, but honestly, taking the time to do it makes your life easier and has definitely helped us grow our business, become more successful in our business, become more successful entrepreneurs, and also just more successful like in our families. And truthfully, Trisha and I have like blocked off like our communication with each other because as much as our husbands love us and they just don't care if we talk all the time. No, but like you need to be present with your family
for sure.
And in other things. And so it's been really good for us.
And it goes back to, we always say, book your class in advance and schedule it, because if you book it, then you're more likely to go to it. Then it's an appointment in your calendar. It's not like you're going to go miss your doctor's appointment because it's right there in there. So do the same thing. Now it's funny, I write in my calendar plan out your week. Like I have that in my calendar because if I didn't have it, then I would never plan it out, and then I'd be back to where I started with nothing planned.
Yeah, and it's just, I feel like it's helpful. Like you see it and you're like, okay, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I feel like we do the things that like kind of have to be done for everybody else too, but
Right.
you got to treat your own things like that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and it's really helpful. I mean, like writing in our classes at different times, and it's funny even today, like I just, because of after the holidays, but we do have it in our schedule, and I just happened to now look and just like we have a meeting at 12, and I'm like, yes, we do, and it's just so the importance of having it written down is
so good.
Is really good.
And so honestly, if you're looking for some help in that department, if you're thinking, I really want to get my workout in, I want to get my nutrition on point, but I just feel so overwhelmed with just the day-to-day and everything happening, then book a VIP call with us, because we're, especially now is a great time to do it. You know, end 2021 strong and start 2022 just feeling in control and of your day and your calendar and
ready to go, and like that you can tackle it, because our conversations tend to be very similar with people, even though everyone's so different.
Yeah.
But it sort of tends to be like lack of time and lack of organization and having so many other things